Hi everyone, and this is video tutorial number 3, and I'm going to be stitching those big flowers. As you can see, I already stitched flowers for blue version. I did outlining, and for the medium big flower I did a long and short shading. It's like a simple kind of long and short shading, so don't worry, I will walk you through all the process that I did here. And for this big flower, every petal is made from outlining. You can see because it's inside and long and short stitch. As you can see, there is a shading between two colors, and yeah, a little bit of darker color inside the petal. So this is how it looks like, and I'm gonna be stitching with you this pink version, and you will see all the steps that I did here. So the first step you need to do is to make outlining. I used the lightest color because I'm going to be filling all the petals with this color. This is DMC and this is Gamma. And I'm going to use 2 strands of floss, and it's going to be a split stitch. For the split stitch, you need to do the first stitch. It's just a short straight stitch, and then you come up a little bit one step away, and you need to split it from the top in the middle. And that's it. This is really simple. I'm trying to follow the shape of the petal, and I will outline all the rest petals and will be back to you. Now I'm going to do a long and short stitch using the same color, but I will be using now 3 strands of floss. So for the long and short stitch, you will need to follow the stitches direction guide that you have in your PDF pattern. You can mark the stitches direction right here on your fabric, so you will know which direction you need to follow. Stitches direction basically is following from the end of the petal to the center of the flower, this way. And now you need to fill most of the petal with long and short stitch, and you can leave the space in the center of the petal right here for another color. You will be blending 2 colors. And when you're doing long and short stitch, you need to make sure that you fill all the space perfectly, and you need to put your needle outside of the outlining without splitting it. But you need to put your stitches outside the outlining and really close to it, and try to not split it. With outlining, the edges of the petal will look more sharp than without it. That's it, one petal is done for this color. If you are afraid of long and short stitch, you can fill this petal with this color. You can fill entire petal using just a satin stitch, or you will need anyway you will need to do long and short stitches because this area is small and this area is big, and you like need to expand your stitches and do shorter stitches between long ones to fill the area properly and to follow the stitches direction. So it's totally up to you. I'm just showing you how I did it. This is my way, and I'm gonna go and fill all the rest petals with this color, and we'll be back to you when I will be doing shading. Here we go. I didn't finish any threads because I didn't want to stop stitching, so I just left them on the side here. So the same way you can do it if you don't want to turn your hoop and finish your stitches, you just want to stitching non-stop, you can do this way, and you can finish them later when you will be ready. So all the petals are stitched with the main color, and I'm switching to another color for blending. This one color, this is Dimsy, and this is Gamma. I'm going to be using 2 strands of floss now. You can use 1 strand of floss if you want to make the color blending more natural. So I'm using 2 strands of floss and I'm blending. I like to do the first stitch in the middle, so I see the stitches directions that I need to follow. And I also make few long stitches on the right and on the left side as well. One more stitch a little bit lower here, and one more stitch a little bit lower here. And now I'm gonna be doing the stitches between them. I see that I can do one more long stitch between this stitch and this one. And now I'm doing stitches between all of those stitches. They are going to be shorter, and yeah, right between them, and they are shorter, as you can see. One shorter stitch here and shorter stitch here. So this simple method can give you an blending effect that you are mixing two colors. You also need to follow the same stitches direction as you did for the filling long and short stitch. And that's it for this petal, and I'm switching to another petal. If you don't know which direction you need to go, you can lay down the thread and you will see which way is more suitable. So you can do it this way, like this. Don't be afraid to do long stitches right inside the previous color. This will help to do the blending better. I'm not trying to do the perfect blending right here because I'm trying to show you the simple way that you can do even if you are a beginner. So just don't be afraid and try. Maybe draw the flower on the separate small piece of fabric and practice on it. So this way you will be more confident when you will be stitching the bigger piece. So just practice. The practicing is everything. That's it. I finished the blending for each petal. As you can see, I was trying to leave a little bit of lightest color between the petals so they look separate as separate petals. So please also take a look on this and try to do the same. If you couldn't do it, you can always switch to the lightest color and make those lines separate shading parts, so you can fix like your work. You can switch to 2 strands of floss of the lightest part for the lightest part and stitch on top of the stitches you already have and make those like lines between the petals separately. And now I will go and finish all the threads because like this is too much. I'm gonna finish it now, and I will be back to you to continue stitching this flower. Here you go. And now I'm switching to the darkest color, this one, the color which I use it for berries, and I'm gonna make just 3 tiny stitches inside each petal. I start from the stitch in the center, and I add 2 smaller stitches on the right side and on the left side. 1 longer stitch in the center and 2 shorter stitches . And 1 more teeny detail I will do here for petals to make them like look like a separate petals. I'm gonna use this color. This is DMC and this is Gamma. I'm gonna use only 1 strand, and I'm gonna go and make a line with 1 strand of floss, and I'm gonna use stem stitch, and you will see it will make those petals to look like separate petals. It's like it's going to be like a shadow for petals. So I go outside of the lightest color . Outside of the petal, like a little bit of outlining, but I'm gonna do it only between the petals. I'm not going to be outlining the whole petal, but I just want to make those petals to look like a separate petals. And I will finish here when the petals doesn't touch each other. I see that in this place my stitches like disappeared, and I will add 1 more stitch. And I'm gonna go now and do the same for all the rest petals. And now all the petals look like more realistic, you know. So I like how it looks like right now. You can also do it with the lightest pink if you have some. You can try. This is also will work, but I chose the darker pink, and this is like I'm adding some shadows, and you can do it with adding some lights, so it can also work. Now I will make the center of the flowers. Don't worry if your center of the flower doesn't look perfect, the perfect circle. It will be hidden by French knots, like I did it with this flower here. So don't worry about it. And now I'm switching to the yellow shades to stitch the center of the flower. First I'm gonna be stitching the center, the center with this color, and then I will be making French knots with this lightest or yellow color. So now I'm gonna stitch the center of the flower. You can do few stitches from the different sides, just to mark the stitches direction for yourself, let's say. And see, you can do actually you can do the woven rows inside, but it's not going to be look like a natural center of the flower. So I'm just going to be filling the center using long and short stitches. So you will need to put your needle in the center all the time. It's not like comfortable. It will be like hard to do. You need to do short stitches, one short stitch in and one long stitches. So then it's going to be twice less times when you will need to go in directly in the center into the same hole, right? So I would recommend you to do this way, to do more short stitches. So you will come to the point when it's going to be too hard to go into the same hole each time. So short stitches will resolve this solution, and you will be able to fill the area properly. Yeah, and it also depends on the fabric, so I don't recommend you to go into the same hole all the time. Just do short stitches as well. Don't worry if your edges here doesn't look perfect. You don't need it. Actually, they are going to be covered by the French knots. You also can fill this space with just a satin stitch, just regular satin stitch. Also, you can fill this area with French knots. So you can do French knots with orange, and then finish to make the edge of the circle with light yellow color. It also gonna look great and natural, like a real flower. I decided to go this way because I like the result, how it looks like. But you have options. You always have options in embroidery, actually. And I like it the most, that it gives me a freedom of multiple choices that I can do. Sometimes there are cases that you need to do 2 shorter stitches and 1 long stitch. Just see how it works for you and how you feel comfortable to do it. I'm using 3 strands right now. You can also use 2 strands if you want. I switched it to 2 strands right now because I have some threads left over, so I will not need to start a new thread. See, till the end it's going to be harder and harder, but it's okay. I just like the texture that it gives me this way, so that's why I do it. Okay, I'm done with the orange and I'm switching to the lightest yellow. You can also use a white color. It will pop really very much, but I prefer natural colors here, so it's going to be light yellow. I'm gonna use 3 strands of floss and I'm gonna do French knots, and I'm gonna create a circle here using French knots. Let's start here. So those are 3 strands and I'm rubbing my needle 3 times. And I make French knots close to each other. If you don't like how your French knot looks like, you can fix it with 1 stitch. Like if it's too loopy, you can fix it with 1 stitch, right, like this. You can go through your French knot one more time and like fix it if you need. Or if your French knot appears to be on the left side or on the right side, you can also fix it by just 1 stitch to like move it closer to the places that you need. Currently my French knots looks fine, but there may be some cases when I will need to fix it. Let's see. See right here, these French knots looks like move it to the center, so I will make 1 stitch and move it a little bit far away from the center, so it's gonna look like it's on a right place and creates a line here. See, this French knot here looks like it's a little bit far away, so I will move it here and stitch it so it's gonna sit on this place where I need. And in general it looks fine. You can do the French knots in the center if you wish. I did it for the blue flower, so it looks nice, so I'm gonna do it for this one as well. yeah, it's a little bit hard, but it's doable, it's possible. So that's it. This flower is finished, and we will do the next flower in my next video tutorial. Hope your flowers will look nice and you will be satisfied with your results. If you have any questions or problems, please reach out to me. You can DM me and send me your pictures of your work, and maybe I will have help with something. So just don't be shy and ask me any questions if you have, or if you need some help. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video tutorial.